Hi, today I'm going to be preparing chicken paroptum. Chicken paroptum was commonly eaten by Romans mostly at feasts thrown by either the wealthy or by Roman emperors that were trying to show off their extravagance and wealth. So Apicius describes chicken paroptum as a small amount of laser, which we're going to be substituting with garlic, 6 scruples of pepper, which is going to be about a quarter ounce of pepper, 1 acetabulum of oil, which is going to be 6 soup spoons of oil, 6 acetabuela of liquamen, which is going to be a fish sauce, which the Romans used to use a fish sauce called garum, which is no longer found. So instead of using garum, we're going to be substituting it with nucnam, which is a similar type of fish sauce that was used in Asia. And then there's also going to be a bit of minced parsley over the top of the chicken. So the first part of the recipe calls for us to cut out strips of the chicken and put it into this pan. And once it's in the pan, we're going to add the rest of our ingredients to season it. And while Romans in the ancient times would usually take poultry to a butcher to cut it, I'm going to be cutting it myself, so it won't be with quite the same precision as they used to cut them with. So what I'm doing right now is cutting the wing off, because the ancient Romans used to cook their entire chicken and would then peel it off of the bone later on. So when making this dish, the ancient Romans had to grind about a quarter ounce of pepper to put into the pan with the chicken when preparing the sauce. So that's what I'm doing right now. So when preparing this dish, the ancient Romans would use minced parsley. And they would usually use a mortar and pestle to either grind up this parsley or knives to sit there and cut it up. Except I don't have a mortar and pestle, so I'm just going to be cutting up my parsley in order to mince it. So in order to prepare our sauce, we're going to need to pour 6 soup spoons of olive oil. There's one. Alright, and now that we have our 6 soup spoons of olive oil, we're going to prepare our fish sauce, which we need to have 6 tablespoons of. So, the ancient Romans would have used a fish sauce called garum, but the recipe for garum is no longer known, so instead we're using a substitute fish sauce called nucnam. So when we're making the sauce for the chicken, the first thing we're going to do is pour the olive oil over the chicken. And then we're going to pour the fish sauce, which is nucnam in this case, although this would be garum when made in ancient times. Now we're going to pour over the quarter ounce of pepper. And now we're going to pour over all of the parsley. However, in Apicius's original recipe for this, he did not explicitly state whether or not the parsley was supposed to be added to the chicken before it was cooked or after it was cooked. And in the original recipe, it calls for laser, which is no longer able to be used. So instead of using laser, we're going to substitute it for garlic. So I've turned the chicken and mixed it in, and now I'm adding a bit more seasoning to the second side before I put it into the oven to bake, which is going to include a bit more garlic, as well as a little bit more pepper. All right. So I'm currently covering the chicken before we put it into the oven to bake at 375 degrees. And while the ancient Romans would have used an oven with an actual flame instead of a modern oven, this is the best we can do for now to make sure that it meets health standards. So now we're putting in our 3.5 pounds of chicken into the oven at 375 degrees for a total of 85 minutes in order to ensure that it cooks properly. And we're going to take it out once it's fully browned. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the chicken out to turn it. So what this is doing is it's going to let the chicken get more of an even cook. Alright, so now that our chicken is done, taking it out of the oven, and it's ready to serve. Although, I lost my taste from COVID a few weeks ago, so we'll have to see what others think.
It's moist. It's salty. A little briny. Yeah, that's about it. Ooh, it's fishy. I can't.
Keep it together.
Not bad. Tastes like chicken.
Our it tastes a little salty, but it's good. That was funny.
Okay, it's a little pungent on the smell, I have to say, but I can't wait to taste it. It tastes much better than it smells, I have to tell you. It has, oh, but the aftertaste. Okay, there's a slight aftertaste. No, I'm fine.
It's food. It's edible. It's not bad.
Ready?
Put a real bite in. I have a big bite.
Starts out like chicken. Tastes a little briny. This is not fit for an emperor. Feed this to the peasants.